The ratings are in for this week's edition of AEW Dynamite on TBS. Of course, the go-home show for AEW All In and the first ever Dynamite to take place outside of North America. We'll let you know all of the details on that. Plus, Forbidden Door, the location for it, seemingly has been revealed thanks to Wembley Stadium advertising in London. We'll let you know all of the details on where Forbidden Door is set to be next year. Plus, Tony Khan has confirmed that AEW is exploring a show in Australia in 2025. Also, an update from Tony Khan himself on the status of Absolute Ricky Starks. Tony Khan has also confirmed that the Von Erichs will be in attendance for AEW All In at London's Wembley Stadium this weekend. Plus, AJ Lee, her autobiography, is being developed to air on A&E. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the ratings for this week's edition of AEW Dynamite on TBS. Of course, as I mentioned, the go-home show for AEW All In this weekend. Of course, we will be doing a watch-along and a post-show for that show. Be sure to join us live on Sunday here on the channel. But this week's AEW Dynamite was up against the Democratic National Convention on most major news networks, but the show held strong. According to WrestleNomics, the August 21st episode of Dynamite dropped just 1% in viewership from last week, with 698,000 viewers tuning in overall. The 18 to 49 demographic rose 4%, scoring a 0.24 in that coveted demographic. The episode had taped in Cardiff, Wales earlier in the day as AEW talent travelled to the United Kingdom for AEW All In 2024 this Sunday, but it wasn't broadcast until its usual time slot. Last week's live edition of the show had an audience of 703,000 and a 0.23 in the 18 to 49 demo. The episode ranked 9th overall on cable behind various DNC coverage on MSNBC and CNN. Dynamite's average viewership number is down 23% compared to this time last year, while the 18 to 49 demographic has dropped 29%. This time last year, the company had been averaging 885,000 viewers overall in August, with a 0.31 in the 18 to 49 demo, whereas now the company is averaging 674,000 overall and a 0.22 in the 18 to 49 demographic. Now, when it comes to the quarter-hour ratings, of course, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics. Shout out to them and be sure to subscribe to their Patreon service. Dynamite stuck to its usual trend of posting a strong first quarter hour, in part due to its lead-in from The Big Bang Theory, before dropping more than 100,000 viewers by quarter hour 2. The middle quarters rebounded somewhat during the promo segment between MJF and Will Ospreay, and also the Continental Championship match between Claudio Castagnoli and reigning champion Kazuchika Okada, but tailed off from there, with the lowest rated quarter being the 9-minute overrun featuring AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson in their final showdown ahead of the final countdown this weekend at Wembley Stadium. What are your thoughts when it comes to the ratings and viewership numbers for Dynamite this week? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, Forbidden Door, a big bit of news today that maybe AEW didn't want to be released totally just yet, but advertising has pointed the direction where the Forbidden Door will be opening next year for AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Although it has already been announced that AEW All In is leaving London, England in 2025 before returning in 2026, the city won't be without a pay-per-view next year. Local advertising has revealed that AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door 2025's crossover pay-per-view will take place in London, though the exact date has yet to be revealed. As you can see right on the screen right there, this is the advertising in question. There's quite a lot of AEW advertising in London in the build-up to All In this weekend. Next year's event will mark the first time AEW brings a non-All In pay-per-view to the city, and they'll have plenty of New Japan Pro Wrestling stars in tow to help move tickets. The chances of Forbidden Door taking place at Wembley Stadium are slim to none, meaning that a new venue will have to be chosen. Possibilities could include Wembley Arena, the O2, or possibly Craven Cottage. Of course, the stadium owned by the Fulham Football Club, of course, is owned by the Khan family. AEW has run the joint pay-per-view with New Japan Pro Wrestling since 2022, making next year's show the 4th annual installment. Previous main events have included Jon Moxley facing Hiroshi Tanahashi, Bryan Danielson taking on Kazuchika Okada, while Okada was still on the New Japan roster, and Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay for the AEW World Championship. Now, 5 years into existence, AEW has slowly but steadily been ramping up its international live event presence with more shows since 2022. The company began by touring Canada before bringing last year's massive AEW All In to Wembley Stadium and returning once again this year. Though Forbidden Door will be in London, Khan announced last month that AEW All In 2025 will take place at the Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Now, speaking of international shows, a bit more of an update when it comes to an AEW show in Australia in 2025. AEW is just days away from a second ever event in Wembley Stadium. Next year, the company will be putting on a show in Dallas, Texas' Globe Life Field. And AEW appears to be leveling up its arena game, and a recent report suggested they might also be planning a show in Australia. During Thursday's AEW All In Media call, AEW CEO Tony Khan confirmed the report, saying AEW is actively working on bringing the promotion to the country. Quote, "We're currently looking at various locations in Australia to potentially run an event sometime next year in 2025, Khan said. We'll have more information about this in the near future. 2025 is going to be a milestone year, just as this is a milestone year." Of course, AEW is currently in the middle of media rights negotiations with Warner Bros. Discovery, and while no deal has been announced as of this recording, Khan's sunny disposition on the topic of AEW's future could possibly be the result of said negotiations. As it stands, AEW All In is just a few thousand tickets shy of selling out, with the event recently crossing the 50,000 ticket mark. While the show will be bringing in a significantly smaller audience than the historic 2023 event, tickets have been selling at a similar clip, and all signs point to All In 2024 being a success. The upcoming All In Texas event in 2025 was the result of AEW's partnership with the city of Arlington, Texas, as the company recently completed a residency in the town's esports arena. Now, Tony Khan also spoke about the current status of Absolute Ricky Starks in All Elite Wrestling. Of course, there's been so many rumors and speculation surrounding his future. The AEW contract status of Ricky Starks has been met with a myriad of speculation, as I mentioned, in recent months, with some believing it had already expired earlier this year. Well, AEW President Tony Khan has since set the record straight, however, confirming that the former FTW champion is still under contract with the company. Quote, "Ricky's been a great star in AEW, Khan said on the All In Media call. He's been a champion here and has great matches here. I think very highly of Ricky. He's somebody who's been here for several years. He's still under contract in AEW. He's a well-regarded wrestler here in AEW. Of course, Starks last wrestled for AEW on the March 30 episode of AEW Collision. There, he and Big Bill lost to Top Flight, Dante and Darius Martin in the quarterfinals of a tag team tournament in which the winners would be crowned as the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. This tournament was ultimately won by the Young Bucks, who are now slated to defend the titles against FTR and the Acclaimed at AEW All In this weekend. Reports later noted that Big Bill and Starks were meant to defeat Top Flight in their respective match, but an injury scare to Starks resulted in a mid-match audible being called. When previously asked about his AEW television absence, Starks stated that he had no clue when he'd be back on AEW programming. A month later, Khan indicated he was keen on getting Starks back into the AEW fold any time. Despite the uncertainty of when or if he returns to AEW TV, Starks has reportedly attracted the attention of WWE, so much so that they are considering bringing him into the NXT brand once his AEW contract officially and eventually expires. But as of right now, we don't know when that is. All we know is that Starks is still under contract to All Elite Wrestling. Now, as I mentioned, AEW All In is this weekend at Wembley Stadium, and it has been confirmed that a wrestling dynasty family is going to be in attendance. All Elite Wrestling has prepared a stacked card for its biggest event of the year, All In. Per AEW President Tony Khan, that card will now be even more stacked with the addition of one of pro wrestling's most famous families, the Von Erichs. Khan confirmed the news on the AEW All In media call yesterday, while also looking ahead to next year's All In pay-per-view event in Arlington, Texas. Quote, "It means so much to me ahead of the big event like this to have the Von Erich family here. A part of it with us in AEW is because AEW is a family," Khan said. It's great to have them with us going into All In next year. I hope they'll continue working with us. It's an honor that they had us in their territory, the Von Erichs, and great to have them here at AEW All In London. I'm looking forward to a big year in Texas next year as well, but all eyes on London this weekend. Now, Marshall, Ross, and Kevin Von Erich first appeared on AEW and Ring of Honor programming last December, mere days before the release of the Iron Claw film, which depicts the rise and fall of the Von Erich dynasty. Marshall and Ross, the sons of Kevin Von Erich, now reign as 2/3 of the Ring of Honor six-man tag team champions, alongside fellow generational talent Dustin Rhodes. The manner in which the Von Erichs will appear, as well as which iteration of them, Marshall, Ross, and Kevin, or just Marshall and Ross, will appear at All In, remains unclear as of right now. Of course, if we get any more details on that, we'll let you know in an upcoming video. And finally, AJ Lee, her autobiography is now being turned into a TV episode, series, or certainly a project. Now, the memoir of AJ Lee is in development for a television adaptation with plans for A&E to air the final product. Lee's memoir is titled Crazy Is My Superpower and was released in April 2017 under her real-life name of AJ Mendez Brooks. The New York Times bestseller charts her harrowing struggle to understand her demons and the diagnosis that helped her gain control over her life. During a recent appearance on the Comic-Con, Mendez revealed the plans for the project, noting it was being developed for a television show with A&E. Speaking about the book during the interview, Mendez shared her struggles with writing the book, saying, quote, "It was an interesting struggle at first because I am the most private person in the world. I share nothing. I'm a brick wall. When you do have a lot of people listen to you, the things you say matter. There is value in that, and you have to be considerate. I was willing to share this life lesson I learned embracing my mental health struggles. That's a piece of me I'm willing to share with the world, if it can help other people. My book is very much about growing up in poverty, growing up homeless, and not understanding the mental illness that was getting in my body and within my family. Really starting to embrace these things in the world seen as negatives and turning them into armor and weapons and making them my greatest strength. That's been a huge part of my creative process, embracing this weird effed up mind that I have." Now, as of the time of recording this video, there's no indication as to when the TV adaptation will air. Mendez's husband, CM Punk, has addressed the possibility of a potential return to the ring for the former three-time WWE's Divas Champion, but as of right now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Of course, Roxanne Perez has also recently claimed that Punk is trying to convince Mendez to make a pro wrestling return, going on to hope that they would have a match together. Of course, AJ Lee retired from pro wrestling and WWE in April 2015, later revealing that damage to her cervical spine had contributed to her decision. In the years since then, she has dipped her toe into pro wrestling related projects such as WOW Women of Wrestling, being executive producer and commentator for that. Of course, she also guest starred in Heels, the wrestling TV series, but as of right now, she's yet to make an official return to the ring. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.